Korra is the titular character and protagonist in Nickelodeon's animated television series The Legend of Korra, a sequel to Avatar, The Last Airbender and the current incarnation of the Avatar. The character was created by Dante DiMartino and Bryan Konietzko and is voiced by Janet Varney. Character overview: Korra lives in a fantasy world where a large fraction of the human population can magically manipulate any one of the classical elements, earth, fire, air, or water. The art of manipulating an element is called bending within the narrative. Korra is the current incarnation of the Avatar, a semi-divine, reincarnating individual with the unique ability to bend all four elements. Korra's duty in life is to safeguard peace in the world and maintain the balance between spirits and mortals. Creation and conception: Korra's character was inspired by various female MMA fighters, as Bryan Konietzko is a fan of mixed martial arts. In addition, she was indirectly inspired by one of Bryan Konietzko's sisters. Korra was also designed to be an inversion of Aang, the title character of the preceding story Avatar, The Last Airbender. Instead of the young, spiritual Aang, Korra is a more physical character who has trouble grasping the spiritual side of being the Avatar, while Aang takes a while to master each of the elements, but connects with the spirit world instantaneously. Korra's name was settled long after her character was imagined. Konietzko and DiMartino couldn't agree to a name for her until they learned Korra, the name of a hotel operator's dog. The name was kept, and only changed in spelling. Personality and characteristics: unlike her predecessor Aang, Korra is described by her creators as very tough, very headstrong, and not scared to get into a fight. Although she is talented, her stubborn and hot-headed personality prevents her from easily learning airbending or connecting with the spirit world. The Avatar traditionally has the greatest difficulty mastering the element diametrically opposed to the Avatar's native bending ability. For instance, Avatar Roku a firebender took longer to learn waterbending and Aang an airbender took longer to learn earthbending. The waterbender Korra, on the other hand, had little difficulty with firebending but had considerable trouble with airbending, a situation noted to be psychological and not elemental. Her best friend and animal guide is a polar bear dog named Naga, whose strength helps Korra out of many dangerous situations. Although wild polar bear dogs were originally feared and hunted by water tribes, Korra is the first person to ever tame one. Korra is good friends with her pro-bending teammates, the brothers Marco and Bolin. She also develops a strong friendship with Asami Sato, a wealthy industrialist and Marco's one-time girlfriend. Korra has strong relationships with the family of her previous avatar. Katara and Tenzin taught her. Tenzin's children look to her as an older sister and Kaya and Bumi regard her as a friend. Korra is on generally good terms with her mother and father, but has little contact with her uncle or cousins, whom she considers weird. Korra is unusual amongst her past lives in that she is technically royalty. Her father Tomrak was formerly going to be the chief of the Northern Water Tribe before being banished and relocating to the south. Korra's character developed and matured during episodes 11 through 12 of the first season when she was confronted with detachment from her main three bending skills, leaving her with airbending, which she had unlocked to save Marco from Amon. Later, she connected to her spiritual self through Aang. Once the connection to her avatar predecessors was established, Aang was able to bestow energy bending upon Korra. Though Korra is now able to bend all four elements while being capable of entering the avatar state, Korra is still in the process of perfecting her airbending skills as well as having a true connection and understanding of her spiritual self to complete her training as a fully realized avatar. Appearances: Book 1, Air. It is revealed in the plot that Korra was able to easily bend both fire and earth in addition to her native element at the age of 4, thus proving her early prowess and status as the current avatar to the Order of the White Lotus. At the age of 17, teenage Korra has officially mastered waterbending, earthbending, and firebending and hopes to learn airbending from the only airbending master alive, Tenzin. The elders of the Order of the White Lotus believe that Korra lacks restraint, and should first master the spiritual side of being the avatar, but Korra's teacher and waterbending master Katara reasons that, If anyone can teach the young Avatar spirituality, it is Tenzin. Tenzin and his family arrive at the White Lotus compound 2 weeks later, but Korra soon learns that Tenzin will not be able to stay in the Southern Water Tribe to teach her, because of the unstable conditions in Republic City. Impatient to begin airbending training, Korra instead sneaks off to Republic City, and is eventually taken in by Tenzin after a confrontation with a bending gang and Republic City's metal bending police force. She meets the Earthbender Bolin and his firebender brother Marco, who were a part of a pro-bending team called the Fire Ferrets, after sneaking out to see a pro-bending match. When the Fire Ferrets waterbender doesn't show up before another match, though, Korra decides to fill in the spot. When Tenzin later sees that the spiral movements required in pro-bending helps train her in airbending, he gives permission for her to participate. Not long into their careers, Bolin is captured by the Equalists, led by the mysterious Amon. To save Bolin, Korra and Marco sneak into an Equalist rally, and witness Amon permanently remove the bending of 3 members of a bending gang. After Bolin is saved, the 3 continue to practice and play pro-bending until the Champion Games. During the Champion Games, Equalists raid the bending arena, strip the opposing team of their bending, and destroy the playing field. Now no longer a member of the Fire Ferrets, as all pro-bending has ended, Korra focuses on the battle against Amon and the Equalists. However, she wants to avoid increasing tensions with peaceful non-benders, who are already being treated as criminals by Republic City. Amon eventually declares full-scale war against Republic City, captures the city council and easily defeats the Republic City police. Outmatched, Korra is forced to wait, along with Marco, Bolin, and Asami, until the United Forces can send military aid. The aid does arrive, led by General Iroh. The 5 team up, and battle against Amon on different fronts. Iroh, Bolin, and Asami try to find and sabotage the Equalists' airfield and other bases of operation while Korra and Marco work together to infiltrate Republic City, which is under Amon's rule, and learn that Amon is actually an incredibly skilled waterbender and moonless bloodbender named Noatak. Korra is, thus, unable to defeat him in a straight fight, and has her bending abilities removed by him. This loss of her 3 bending elements finally unlocked her dormant airbending abilities, which allows her to catch Amon off guard and defeat him by revealing his true nature as a waterbender to the public. The conflict against Amon now over, Korra is terribly upset over the costs of the war and the loss of her bending. At the Southern Water Tribe, she runs away when she learns that Katara is unable to restore her bending. Her bending abilities are fully restored to her by the spirit of Aang, along with the spirits of the previous avatars before him. She is also given the ability of energy bending. Using this newly acquired ability, she is able to undo Amon's removal of people's bending. Book 2, Spirits. In Book 2, Spirits, taking place 6 months after the anti-bending revolution, Korra is shown racing with Tenzin's 3 children and wins by using the mighty, powerful avatar state which Ikki considers to be cheating. Soon after, she, Tenzin, Marco, and their respective families travel to the Southern Water Tribe for the Glacial Spirits Festival. There, she greets her uncle and chief of the Northern Water Tribe, Unalaq, and her first cousins, Desna and Eska, both of whom unnerve her due to their detached nature and their general dislike of her. Later during the night, Korra is attacked by a dark spirit, and though she, her father, Marco and Bolin try to stop it, all of them are defeated. It is only thanks to Unalaq that the spirit is bested, which he manages through use of waterbending designed to calm angry spirits. Frustrated with Tenzin and her father Tonraq for keeping her in the compound of the Order of the White Lotus when Aang wanted otherwise, she chooses Unalaq as her new spiritual teacher, saddening Tenzin greatly. After Tenzin leaves for the Southern Air Temple, Unalaq says he has much he will teach her. In the Southern Lights, Korra, Bolin, Marco, and Unalaq, accompanied by Desna, Eska, and Tonraq head for the South Pole to restore the spirit world portal that exists there since the portal was locked during the 100-Year War and never restored. On the way, after battling angry spirits and much anger and persistence from Korra, Tonraq reveals he is the other reason the spirits are angry. 20 years before, during a battle with barbarian raiders, Tonraq destroyed the sacred forest in the North Pole to defeat the enemy hiding there, angering the spirits who dwelt there and nearly destroying the tribe when they retaliated, causing his banishment and disinheritance. Korra is furious at him for not telling her, and asks him to leave the mission. Korra then proceeds to enter the frozen forest where the dark spirits dwell, and after several attempts, uses the avatar state to restore the forest and the portal to the spirit world. As they return to the Southern Water Tribe, Korra sees Unalak's warship fleet docking, and realizes he is going to use his military might to try to force the Southern Water Tribe to finally embrace their spiritual side. Korra's parents are later arrested for conspiring to assassinate Unalak. Korra's mother, Senna, is cleared of all charges, but decides to confront the judge and get him to release her father as well. Korra discovers that the trial was a setup by Unalak like the barbarian attack on the Northern Water Tribe to get Tonraq banished. She confronts Unalak over his actions and rejects him as her spiritual teacher before setting off to free her imprisoned father. The Avatar and her friends then flee to Republic City for support of the South in the now ignited civil war between the two water tribes. After Korra is unable to get support from the United Forces, she uses a speedboat to travel to the Fire Nation to convince them to help the Southern Tribe. She is then attacked by Desna and Eska, who were assigned by their father to capture the Avatar and open the Northern Spirit Portal. However, Korra is attacked by a massive dark spirit and dragged beneath the waves. Desna and Eska flee, believing their cousin to be dead. Korra is later revealed to be alive and washed up on shore somewhere in the Fire Nation where she is discovered by two fire sages. As she awakens, a weakened Korra reveals she doesn't remember who she is before passing out again. In Beginnings, the sages carry her to a nearby fire temple where a shaman diagnosed her that she had been affected by the negative energy of a dark spirit that's beginning to destroy her avatar spirit. They lower Korra into spiritual healing waters to cleanse her of the dark infection. Korra's consciousness then makes contact with several of her past selves, Aang, Roku, Kyoshi, and then Kuruk. They remind her she is the Avatar and must regain her connection with her Avatar spirit. If she doesn't, she will be destroyed, darkness will be engulf the world, and bring the era of the Avatar to an end. Avatar Kuruk tells to regain her connection, she must return to the beginning and find Re'ava. Korra then encounters another past Avatar named One who reveals to Korra that he was the first Avatar and can help her find Re'ava. One shows Korra how he became the first Avatar. His story reveals that he lived 10,000 years ago in a time where humans lived atop the backs of lion turtles who protected from spirits who roamed the mainlands across the world. The lion turtles each used energy bending to give humans a specific element while venturing in spirit territory. After One stole the element of fire from his lion turtle to help improve life for him and his poor friends, he is banished to the spirit wilds where he befriends several spirits. After 2 years, One travels the wilds with his cat Diamula to find the other lion turtle cities. He encounters the all-powerful spirits Re'ava and Vachu, who were dueling in the mountains. Vachu tricks One into freeing him from Re'ava's restraints and flies off. Re'ava explains to One she is the spirit of light and peace and Vachu is the spirit of chaos and destruction. By freeing Vachu, One has unleashed darkness into the world. Korra briefly wakes up enough to mutter a few words. The shaman overseeing her healing says she is connecting with her deepest memories, which are One. Back in her vision of her past, Re'ava sets off to track down Vachu and warns One not to interfere with her again. After saving the people atop the air lion turtle from dark spirits corrupted by Vachu, One convinces Re'ava to let him help her defeat the spirit of darkness. Together, the two set out and gain the ability of air, water, and earth from the other lion turtle cities. For the next year, the two train to defeat Vachu on the Day of Harmonic Convergence, an event that happens once every 10,000 years in which Re'ava and Vachu must battle each other for the fate of the world until the next harmonic convergence. One cannot be completely destroyed as light and dark cannot exist without one another. Whoever is defeated will simply be reformed in the next 10,000 years. Once the day of battle arrives, Warren and Rare Ava enter the southern portal to the spirit world and confront Virtue. Rare Ava possesses one so he can be able to use all four elements, but her presence in his body for too long gradually begins to give Virtue the advantage as it begins to severely weaken one. Harmonic convergence soon begins and the two portals of the North and South Pole to overlap. Using the amplified energy of the southern portal, one permanently merges with Rare Ava, becoming Rare Ava's avatar. Using the newly created avatar state, one easily beats Virtue and traps him in an sphere composed of all four elements and imprisoned Virtue in the Tree of Time. To prevent the risk of Virtue escaping imprisonment, one led of the spirits in the mortal realm back to the spirit world and closed the spirit portal. The Lion Turtles declare the world is entering a new age and their time protecting mankind is over and will no longer provide the power of the elements. The four nations are soon established. The newly founded Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation and Water Tribe go to war, prompting Avatar One to intervene and cease fighting. Many years later, an elderly One is dying on the battlefield of a vicious war. One apologizes to Rare Ava for failing to bring peace to humanity. The Light Spirit reassured him that they would be together for all of his lifetimes and will never give up. One then peacefully passes away, and, accompanied by Rare Ava, now the Avatar Spirit, is reincarnated, beginning the Avatar cycle. Korra subsequently awakens with her memory restored. The Avatar, after learning the next harmonic convergence is a few weeks away, sets out on a sky bison gifted to her by the shaman to close the southern portal before harmonic convergence begins, to prevent Virtue from escaping his prison. Korra arrives at the Eastern Air Temple, where Tenzin and his family have stopped it on their vacation. She outlines the events of what has previously occurred, including the Water Tribe civil war. In the temple's garden, Korra explains to Tenzin how Avatar One imprisoned Virtue in the spirit world and that now, Unalaq wants to free him. Jainora guides Korra into the spirit world where she is eventually captured by Unalaq and blackmails Korra into open the northern spirit portal, to which the young Avatar reluctantly does. Korra then returns to the physical world, but Jainora remains trapped, much to the horror of Tenzin and his family. They all return to Republic City and gain assistance from Team Avatar in stopping Unalaq before harmonic convergence. They all arrive back at the Southern Water Tribe where Senna reveals the Southern rebels were all defeated and Tonraq has been captured. Korra and the team head off to save him, but are captured by Unalaq's troops. Unalaq soon arrives and reveals his ultimate plan, to fuse with harmonic convergence and become the new Avatar. A dark Avatar. He then spouts his rage about Avatar One separating spirits from humans and that all his Avatar incarnations have brought nothing but chaos for continuing One's mission as being the bridge between the two worlds, when they all should live together as one. Team Avatar, with the help of Bumi manage to escape, but are too late to close the spirit portal as harmonic convergence begins, allowing Virtue to escape from his prison. Unalaq fuses with Virtue by touching the amplified power of the northern portal, creating the Dark Avatar Spirit. The two avatars battle leads into the physical world. Unalaq uses Virtue's tendrils to rip Korra and Rare Ava apart. Unalaq then attacks Rare Ava with his waterbending. With each blow to Rare Ava, each connection to a past avatar is destroyed. With a final blow, Rare Ava is destroyed and the connection to the last surviving avatar Spirit, One is destroyed, thus ending the avatar cycle. With Rare Ava destroyed, Unalaq then becomes a colossal dark spirit and teleports to Republic City to destroy it. With some guidance from Tenzin, Korra energizes a giant astral projection of her spirit, which returned to Earth to battle the Dark Avatar. She initially gains the upper hand, but Unalaq manages to subdue her. He then begins to use Corrupt the Spirit with his spirit purification technique. Jainora's spirit suddenly appears out of the sky and unleashes a small orb of light, breaking Unalaq's concentration on his technique. Rare Ava's light spirit is revived and extracted from Virtue's essence by Korra. She then uses her uncle's technique to purify the Dark Avatar, which not only destroys both Unalaq and Virtue, but also the Dark Avatar Spirit and Unalaq's connection to Virtue. Back in the spirit world, Team Avatar, aided by Desna and Eska, attempt to stop a horde of dark spirits from attacking Korra's spiritless body. Korra, Jinora, and Re-Ava return and dissipate the dark spirits. Seconds before the end of harmonic convergence ends, Korra and Re-Ava use the remaining energy of the southern portal and fuse back together, recreating the Avatar spirit. Though connected with Re-Ava once again, Korra's connection to the past avatars remains severed. Korra decides to leave both spirit portals open, believing spirits are able to coexist with humans. She gives a speech to all the Southerners about Unalak's defeat and that the Northern Fleet is returning home. She declares both tribes will remain allies, but both are now independent and Tonraq is now the new chief of the Southern Water Tribe. In addition, Korra renounces the Avatar's role as the bridge between two worlds, but declares that she will still use Re-Ava's light spirit to bring peace. She concludes her speech with announcing that harmonic convergence has shifted the planet's energy and that the world is now entering a new age, as various spirits roam the skies above. Book 3, Change. In Book 3, Change, which takes place 2 weeks after Book 2, Spirits, Korra must deal with the drastic changes caused by harmonic convergence and how a shift in the world's energy has affected both the spirit and physical worlds. She soon discovers that her decision in keeping the spirit portals open has unexpected consequences. When she learns that people all around the Earth Kingdom have developed airbending abilities, she is determined to help rebuild the nearly extinct nation of the air nomads after 170 years by recruiting these new airbenders. She later arrives in Ba Sing Se to ask for the Earth Queen's approval for finding airbenders in her city. But when the Earth Queen is stubborn and uncooperative, Korra angrily promises to find the airbenders on her own. Upon learning that the Queen was merely using her, she plans a rescue mission to bust the airbenders out. She succeeds in the mission but doing so turns the Earth Queen against her. The airbenders are safely taken to the Northern Air Temple. Meanwhile, 4 criminals escape from their custom-made prisons and come after Korra. Korra travels with a mission to find more airbenders and in result goes to Zaofu, a city of metal led by Suan Beifong, where Suan's daughter is a new airbender. She also learns metal bending from Suan while staying there. Suan's trusted advisor Iwu is revealed to be a member of the Red Lotus when helps the group invade Zaofu in an attempt to kidnap Korra. Iwu manages to escape the city, but Team Avatar manage to track him down to the Misty Palms oasis. They learn that he's mediated into the spirit world for a meeting with Zaya at Xibao's Grove. Korra herself enters Xibao's Grove and witnesses Zaya and Iwu conversing on their failure to capture the Avatar. Zaya notices her, but before dealing with her, he imprisons Iwu in the fog of lost souls. He returns to the Grove and agrees to answer Korra's questions. He reveals that he and his comrades are members of the Red Lotus, a secret society created sometime after the 100-Year War by a former member of the White Lotus named Xibao, who believed the order lost its true purpose and became nothing but the Avatar's bodyguards and servers of corrupt nations. The goal of the Red Lotus is to return the world to the way it was before Avatar 1 split Re-Ava and Vachu. Unalak is revealed to be a former member of the society, but betrayed them when they failed in his plan to kidnap his niece 13 years prior. He instead decided to use her to free Vachu in the spirit world and become a dark avatar. Believing the true order of nature is disorder, the Red Lotus plan to bring balance by plunging the world into anarchy and do away with all nations and governments. Having returned to the physical world, Korra and Asami have been captured by the Earth Queen's troops and intended to bring them back to Ba Sing Se. They manage to escape and reunite with their allies at the Misty Palms oasis. They overhear that the Earth Queen has recently been murdered and now Ba Sing Se and the Earth Kingdom itself is now thrown into chaos. Korra reveals this is the work of the Red Lotus. Korra soon receives a message from Zaya that either she surrenders to him or he will wipe the new air nomads. After consulting with Lord Zuko, Korra agrees to turn herself in. Su devises a plan for their forces to divide into 2 groups to safely rescue the air nomads at the Northern Air Temple and protect Korra at the meeting ground Lagamas Peak. Korra meets Zaya and Pai Walin, Su, Tonraq, and several Zaofu metal benders hide on the side of the mountain. At the Northern Air Temple, Mako, Bolin, and Asami discover that they have been tricked by Gazan and Minghui, the airbenders having been moved to a different location. They warn Korra too late for her to free herself from cuffs, but Lin and the others surprise attack Zaire and Ply. In the end, Zaire defeats Korra and escapes with his newfound ability of flight. He brings her to a Red Lotus cave hideout where the Red Lotus poisons her to trigger the Avatar state, when the Avatar can be permanently destroyed. He planned for Ming-Hui to sever Korra's chains so that she falls into Kazan's lava. However, Korra's entry into the Avatar state gives her the strength to rip her chains straight off of the walls. Korra pursues Zaire outside the cave and fiercely clashes with him, but the poison severely weakens her, allowing Zaire to try and suffocate Korra with airbending. Jinora and the rest of the newly freed airbenders combine their powers to trigger a massive cyclone, interrupting Zaire and allowing Korra to wrestle him to the ground with her remaining chain. Sue then uses metal bending to remove the metallic poison from Korra's body, saving her life. 2 weeks later, Korra, in a wheelchair due to her ordeal, is present at Air Temple Island in Republic City for Jinora's ceremony of becoming an airbending master. Tenzin and others laud her for saving the world as Tenzin announces that in the wake of the chaos caused by the Red Lotus and Korra's temporary incapacitation, the new air nomads will become a traveling force for peace. Book 4, Balance, the name for the final book of the Legend of Korra series, was released on September 6, 2014 via Nickelodeon's Twitter page. On September 10, 2014, an official air date of October 3, 2014 was released by the show's creators Bryan Konietzko and Michael DiMartino. A trailer for Book 4 revealed that 3 years have passed since the events of Book 3. Reception: initially, Nickelodeon suspended production on the series because they did not like Korra being a girl. But, after seeing the completed first episode, they let the series resume development. Fan interest in Korra was high at the time of her announcement. During the series run, Emily Ashby of Common Sense Media claimed that Korra was a good role model, citing her dedication to her goals and open-mindedness towards new ideas. When the second season of the show began to air, there was a mild controversy about the character. Fans and reviewers alike were not happy with Korra's behavior and the way she was acting. Bryan Konietzko, co-creator of Legend of Korra, compared this controversy to a similar one that occurred about Zuko, during the run of Avatar, The Last Airbender. References. External links.